A simple woman denied a room in her billionaire husband's hotel. He makes them regret it instantly. She arrived just after sunset, when the glass of the hotel reflected a soft gold and the sea breeze moved the flags along the driveway. Aisha carried a small overnight bag that had seen many trips. The bag did not say luxury. It said useful. She liked useful things. She stepped through the revolving door and paused for a moment, letting her eyes adjust to the warm light inside. She had been here before, many times with her husband, and yet she always stopped to look. She liked how the lobby felt like a calm lake, even when it was busy. The floor shone like still water. A pianist played a gentle tune near the far wall. Tall palms stood in bronze planters. Guests drifted by in clothes that looked new, crisp, and expensive. Staff moved quietly, with practiced smiles and smooth steps. Aisha wore a plain cotton dress and simple flats. Her scarf was neatly pinned. She had chosen comfort for the long ride from the airport. She was tired, but not unhappy. She believed a good night's rest could wash the tiredness away. She believed in small, steady joys. She joined the short line at the front desk and read the nameplates. Bilal, reception. Nadia, front desk manager. On the wall behind them, a soft light haloed the hotel's crest. It was a sign she knew well, but she never pointed at it. She did not need to. She glanced at a framed card in the corner that listed the hotel's values: respect, care, integrity, warmth. She smiled when she read those words. She always smiled at them, as if greeting old friends. She waited, patient and quiet, as the line moved forward. When it was her turn, Bilal greeted her with careful politeness. He looked very young, like someone still learning which button did what. "Good evening, ma'am," he said. "May I see your ID and reservation, please?" Aisha passed him her ID and a printed confirmation. She always printed confirmations. It made her feel secure, like carrying an umbrella on a day that might not rain. Bilal typed quickly. For a brief moment his face opened in relief, as if everything matched. "Yes, I see your suite, ma'am," he said. Then he glanced up, and his eyes slid to someone on his left. Nadia had stepped closer. She wore a perfect blazer and a practiced expression. She greeted the guest behind Aisha in a bright tone, then looked back at the screen in front of Bilal. Her voice lowered. "What's the situation?" she asked. When Bilal explained, she leaned in and clicked the mouse twice. "There must be a systems error," she said, "not exactly to Aisha, not exactly to anyone. We are at full occupancy tonight. Please mark it as no availability." Aisha kept her voice calm. "I have a confirmed reservation," she said. "Perhaps the system just needs a refresh." Nadia's gaze moved over Aisha's dress, her bag, her flats, the printed page. It returned to Aisha's face. "I'm very sorry," she said, though her tone held no true sorry inside it. "We do not have any rooms. There is an economy hotel 2 blocks away. Very clean and, you know, more practical." She made a small, neat gesture with her hand, as if moving Aisha along an invisible path out the door. The pianist kept playing. A guest laughed near the elevators. Aisha felt heat rise in her cheeks, not from anger, but from the sharpness of being set aside. Omar at the concierge desk noticed. He had the kind of face that listened, even when it was quiet. He crossed the lobby carrying 2 bottles of water and placed one near Aisha's bag. "For you, ma'am," he said softly. "The night is warm." Aisha thanked him and did not open the bottle. She kept her hands folded. She did not want to look unsure. Bilal shifted from one foot to another. "I did see the suite in the system," he murmured, almost to himself. Nadia's eyes flashed, quick as a warning light. "We cannot release rooms that are not available," she said. A woman in bright travel clothes stepped up behind Aisha, asking loudly about upgrades. Nadia's tone changed like a light switch. But of course, she said, smiling. We have a City View Junior suite for you. Let me just, she typed, nodded, and handed over 2 key cards with a flourish. The woman beamed. Aisha watched and said nothing. She was not an expert at systems, but she understood fairness. She thought of the words on the framed card: respect, care, integrity, warmth. They were still glowing on the wall. She wondered if anyone else could see them glowing. A family arrived with a sleepy child on the father's shoulder. Their luggage looked practical, too. The mother spoke softly, asking if there might be a crib. Bilal glanced toward Nadia before answering. His voice turned careful again. I'm sorry, we appear to be at full occupancy. The mother looked confused. We booked last month, she said. The father bounced the child gently, whispering comfort in his ear. Aisha felt a pull in her chest. She did not want to interfere. She also did not want to watch kindness step back to make space for pride. She took out her phone and typed a message. I reached the hotel, she wrote to her husband. There is some confusion with the reservation. It's all right. I can find a place nearby. She added a small smile emoji, because she knew he worried when her messages were too plain. The reply came almost at once, as if he had been watching the screen for her name. Please stay in the lobby, Kamal wrote. Don't leave. I'm finishing a call. She read his message twice. She did not want to make a scene. Still, she trusted his calm words. Nadia cleared her throat, the polite sound people use before they say something that will not feel polite. Ma'am, we do not wish to keep you waiting, she said to Aisha, as if the waiting were a gift the hotel was giving. There is a policy about releasing rooms to align with brand presentation, especially during peak hours. The sentence felt heavy with hidden meanings. We will not be able to check you in tonight. Aisha looked at Bilal. His eyes flicked toward the screen, then to Nadia, then to Aisha again, asking for understanding he could not request out loud. May I speak to the duty manager? Aisha asked, gently, not to win but to learn. I am the manager on duty, Nadia said. Her smile was small and exact. And I have made the decision. She slid Aisha's printed confirmation back across the counter. The paper made a soft sound. Aisha took it and smoothed one edge with her thumb. Would you be willing to call the reservation line, she asked. Or the regional office? I believe everything will be clear. Nadia shook her head. It will say we are fully committed, she said. I know what it will say. Omar looked from face to face and then toward the lobby doors, as if expecting someone. He leaned closer to Aisha and spoke in a low voice, careful not to be seen undermining his team. Please have a seat, he said. I will bring you tea. It's on the house. Aisha did not want to take anything for free. Still, she said thank you. She moved to a chair near the pianist and placed her bag at her feet. She sat with her back straight. A little girl dropped a scarf nearby, and Aisha rose to pick it up and hand it back. The girl's mother smiled through her worry. The father kept bouncing the sleepy child. The music floated, soft and steady, as if the piano did not know about policies or brand presentation or quiet rudeness that hid behind neat words. Aisha's phone buzzed again. I'm close, Kamal wrote. She looked up at the crest on the wall and felt her heartbeat slow. She remembered the first time she had walked into this hotel long ago, before the gold and the marble and the careful smiles belonged to their company. She had been just as simple then. She had also been just as sure. She thought of the nights when she and Kamal had stayed awake, planning how a hotel should feel. They had talked about how welcome is not a word but a posture. They had talked about how tired travelers do not need to be impressed, they need to be seen. She did not think about ownership the way others did. She thought about duty. She thought about the kitchen crew that worked past midnight, and the housekeeping staff that folded towels with quiet art, and the maintenance team that kept water flowing and lights gentle. She thought about respect, which has no costume. The automatic doors slid open, and a gust of night air moved through the lobby. A tall man in a plain linen shirt stepped inside, no tie, no loud entrance, the kind of person you might not notice unless you were looking for steady things. He did not look like anyone famous. He looked like someone who listened. He glanced toward the reception desk. He glanced toward the chair where Aisha sat. A small smile touched his mouth, the private kind a person shares only with one other person in a crowded room. He moved toward the counter, calm as a tide. Aisha did not stand. She sipped the tea Omar had set beside her and felt warmth fill the space between her ribs. She watched her husband greet Omar by name and thank him for the tea he had already given. She watched him ask Bilal a simple question that made Bilal look both worried and relieved. She watched Nadia straighten her blazer. The pianist kept playing. The lobby kept breathing. Aisha rested her hands on the printed page and waited, not to be rescued, but to see whether the values on the wall would step down into the room and live. Kamal moved through the lobby like a person who belonged anywhere because he did not try to own the space. He nodded to the doorman, thanked Omar for the tea he had given Aisha, and stopped a few steps away from the front desk. He did not speak at once. He watched. The lobby had a rhythm, and he listened for where it was smooth and where it snagged. The pianist kept the melody light, the elevator's side open and closed. The line at the desk grew and shrank, like the tide meeting a rock and pulling back. Kamal was familiar with this dance. He had watched it in many cities, at many hours, and he could tell when a team was working in harmony and when it was playing two different songs. Nadia noticed him the way a guard notices movement at the edge of a bright room. She gave him the practiced smile that comes with hospitality training and then turned back to her screen. The bright traveler who had asked for upgrades earlier returned, laughing at something on her phone. Nadia greeted her by name without checking the system. "Of course, Miss Malik," she said warmly. "We've added late checkout for you and a welcome amenity. You'll love the city view tonight." She slid 2 key cards across the desk with perfect form. The traveler thanked her with a happy wave and a snapping selfie. Behind them, the family with the sleepy child waited again. The father shifted his weight. The mother whispered that they could try another place, but the little one needed sleep soon. Bilal looked as if he wanted to help them and also wanted to stay invisible. He glanced toward Nadia, then toward the family, then toward the glowing crest on the wall. He swallowed hard and turned to the keyboard. "Let me just check one more time," he said in a voice that hoped nobody important would hear. Nadia's fingers stilled. "We are at full occupancy," she said gently but firmly, the way a door closes with weather stripping. Kamal stepped closer and placed his palm near the cool stone of the counter. "Good evening," he said to Bilal, choosing the most ordinary words. "I'm looking for a room. Nothing fancy. Just a quiet night." His voice was not big. It was tidy and clear. Bilal straightened and began typing. "Good evening, sir. We are currently, at full occupancy." He swallowed again and looked apologetic. Kamal nodded once as if the answer had matched his expectation. "May I have a written note that says the hotel is at full occupancy?" he asked. "I need it for my records." Nadia's head tilted, not hostile, but alert. People did not often ask for a written note to confirm there was no space. "Sir, we can send an email," she offered. "There is no need for a paper note." Kamal kept his eyes kind and steady. "An email works," he said. "Please include the time and the reason for denial. I want to make sure I remember this night correctly." Something in the way he said "remember" made Bilal glance up. It was not a threat. It was more like a person building a neat folder and making sure each page was correct. Nadia's smile returned. Certainly, she replied. Bilal, please send the guest a note. Kamal gave an alias email he often used for quiet visits. He thanked them and stepped back, then walked a slow circle through the lobby. He did not look at Aisha yet. He did not want to pull the room's attention to her. He passed the flower display, breathed in the scent of lilies, and sat for a moment near a column where he could see the reflection of the desk in a panel of dark glass. From his pocket, he opened his phone. There was an app with a deep blue icon that the public did not use. The app showed live occupancy percentages, room statuses, and housekeeping progress. The numbers told a simple story: the hotel was not full. He scrolled to the suite summary. 2 standard suites and the presidential suite were clean and ready. 3 City View Juniors were due to be released within 30 minutes. He tapped the maintenance log. No water outages, no floor closures, no surprise repairs that would justify holding back rooms. He tapped the staffing view. Front desk had 2 agents and 1 manager. Concierge had 1. Bell desk had 2. Security had 1 patrol in the back corridor and 1 watching cameras. The picture was normal. Then why were confirmed guests being told no? The answer was not a shortage of beds. It was a shortage of fairness. Kamal watched Nadia greet another pair with high heels and sleek luggage. She leaned in, offered options, and clicked with speed. Smile, nod, key cards, flourish. Then a man with a backpack and a rolled poster approached. He spoke quietly. He had flown in for a small conference, he said, and his presentation was tomorrow morning. He was on a budget and had booked early. Could he please check in? Bilal's fingers hovered. He checked the reservation and looked relieved, then worried. His mouth formed the words "we are," before he even finished reading the screen. Kamal could feel the new receptionist's conflict like a gust of warm air from a kitchen door. Omar, coming back from the tea station, paused again by Aisha's chair. "Everything all right, ma'am?" he asked softly. Aisha gave a gentle smile. "Thank you for the tea," she said. "It helped." Omar nodded and turned to the family with the sleepy child. "Let me get your little one some warm milk," he said to the parents. "It's on the house." The mother's eyes softened with a gratitude that needed no speech. The father blinked fast, the way tired people blink when kindness finds them at last. Omar disappeared into the lounge and returned with 2 small cups and a napkin full of biscuits shaped like stars. Kamal stood and returned to the desk. He checked his watch and then opened the housekeeping tab again. He reserved the presidential suite under his alias. This was a hidden feature he used rarely and flagged it for private arrival: no fanfare, no escort, no welcome display that would draw attention. He sent a quick note to the night housekeeping supervisor: "Please do a silent recheck of PS at 20:30. Fresh fruit, plain tea, 2 extra pillows." "Thank you." The supervisor replied with a green check. Kamal exhaled and put the phone away. He would not let a lesson turn into a scene. He would let the truth stand up, steady and visible. He approached the counter again. "Excuse me," he said to Nadia in the same tidy voice. "Would you help me understand your policy for confirmed reservations? I travel often. I like to learn how different hotels handle these things." Nadia met his gaze with a professional calm that had been polished by many days. "We always honor confirmed reservations," she said smoothly. "Unless there is a system error or a special situation." Kamal nodded as if taking notes in his mind. "And how do you identify a special situation?" he asked. Nadia's smile thinned. "Sir, that is internal," she said. "But rest assured, we always act to protect the brand." "Of course," Kamal said softly. "The brand is a promise, yes." Nadia relaxed a fraction, happy to find a familiar word. "Exactly," she replied. "Presentation matters." She glanced toward Aisha's plain dress and small bag. It was a glance quick enough to deny, but strong enough to feel. Kamal let the glance pass like a cloud. He was not here to win a small argument. He was here to lift the whole room by 1 inch and keep it there. He turned to Bilal. "Would you mind checking if any rooms will be released in the next hour?" he asked. "I can wait." Bilal typed and stared. A line of green text flashed. He looked at Nadia, then at Kamal. We may have some rooms becoming available," he said carefully. Nadia's eyes were calm, but her jaw was set. "We don't pre-commit to future releases," she said. "We must protect inventory." Kamal almost smiled at the phrase. Protect inventory. As if hospitality were a dragon guarding coins and not a host opening a door. He shifted his weight and looked at the queue. "May I make a suggestion as a guest?" he asked. Nadia nodded, curious despite herself. "Perhaps offer the guests waiting a seat, a glass of water, and clear timing," he said. "It makes the waiting feel less heavy." Nadia considered and then gave a small nod to Bilal. "Please offer water to the guests," she said. "And let them know we're reviewing availability." It was a small change, and yet the air moved. Omar was already in motion with a tray. Bilal's shoulders lowered a bit, as if someone had taken a stone from his backpack. The family with the sleepy child found a spot on a sofa. The man with the rolled poster checked his watch and smiled at the warm milk gift to the little one. Aisha watched all this with quiet eyes. She was not surprised. She had seen many rooms shift 1 inch at a time. Kamal took a step sideways and looked up at the crest on the wall. Respect. Care. Integrity. Warmth. He read the words like a list to remember before a test. He felt the weight of the monthly owner values session on his calendar. It was supposed to be a slide deck later that evening, with bullet points and case studies. He decided, on the spot, that the session would be held here, now, in real life. Not to embarrass. To teach in the place where the lesson lives. He sent a short text to the regional director, "I'm on site. Please don't inform the team. After action huddle in 30 minutes. He returned to Aisha at last and sat in the chair beside her. "How's the tea?" he asked. "Warm and kind," she said. The words made him smile. He kept his voice low. "I've held the presidential suite under the alias," he said. "Just in case we need quiet. I'll make this right for the others, too." Aisha touched the edge of the printed confirmation on her lap. "I know," she said. "But remember, right is not loud." He nodded, a small bow, promise understood. He stood again, gave Omar a grateful look that said more than thanks, and walked back to the desk. A tall man in a gray suit entered the lobby and paused, looking at the lighted art near the elevators. He had a small pin on his lapel that meant he worked for the hotel group, though not in this building. He noticed Kamal and then looked away as if he had merely seen a familiar face in a busy place. Kamal appreciated that. True professionals know when to greet and when to let a moment grow by being left alone. He gestured for the man to wait by the lounge and then approached the counter one last time before the reveal that would come later. "Bilal," Kamal said, keeping the tone warm, "could you please tell me, in your own words, how you decide when to say yes?" The question was not a trick. It was an invitation to think. Bilal blinked, surprised to be asked something that sounded like trust. "We say yes when the system says yes," he began. He hesitated and then looked down. "And sometimes we say no if we think the guest might not fit." His voice got smaller at the last word. Nadia's eyes cut across, quick as a knife, but Kamal lifted a hand in a gesture of thanks to Bilal. "Honesty takes courage," he said simply. He turned to Nadia. "And how do you teach a new agent to balance system rules and human care?" he asked. Nadia's chin lifted. By insisting on consistency, she said. We cannot allow exceptions to dilute the brand. Kamal nodded once. Consistency is a kind of kindness, he agreed. When it does not become a wall. He let the sentence stay in the air. He did not push it forward. The lobby breathed around them. The pianist reached a tender phrase and held it. Somewhere in the back, a cart rolled softly over carpet. The smell of fresh bread drifted from the kitchen, and new guests came through the revolving door with hopeful faces. From his phone, Kamal sent one more quiet instruction. He asked the lounge to set aside a few simple plates soup, bread, tea for anyone who had been waiting more than 20 minutes. Not as a show. As a sign. The menu needed no announcement. Servers would carry the plates with gentle hands and say, while you wait. He texted the training lead to print the escalation protocol cards he had designed weeks ago. These were small, sturdy cards that gave every team member the right words to use when they needed to question a decision. For guest dignity, I request a second check. He wanted those cards on the desk before midnight. He looked again at Aisha. She sat with her back straight, her hands still, her eyes kind. She could have stood and ended this with one sentence that revealed who she was. She chose not to. She was not testing people to catch them. She was waiting to see who they were when nobody told them who to be. Kamal felt a small swell of pride, not the noisy kind, but the kind that hums like a quiet engine. He would make the truth visible soon, but he would do it in a way that did not crush anyone's chance to learn. The minutes ticked by. The family with the sleepy child received a room, one of the juniors that had just been released. The father almost cried from relief. The man with the rolled poster got a standard room. He promised to write a kind review if the projector worked tomorrow. Omar walked the little one to the elevator to wave goodnight to the moving room. Laughter, light and sweet, rose and faded. The lobby softened. Yet Nadia's posture stayed tight. She had not changed her mind about Aisha. She had decided who belonged, and she intended to keep the door narrow. Kamal glanced at the clock above the elevators. It was time. He stepped forward, placed a small metal card on the counter, and looked at Bilal and Nadia with the same calm he had carried since he walked in. He did not raise his voice. He did not ask for attention. He simply waited for the room to see what the room needed to see next. The card shone a little under the lobby lights, and Bilal's eyes widened at the embossed crest he had only seen in training slides. In that small metallic reflection, the night began to change shape, and every person in the lobby felt the air grow alert, as if the room itself were ready to listen. The metal card lay on the counter like a small mirror catching the lobby's light. Bilal blinked, leaned closer, and then straightened so quickly his chair rolled back a few centimeters. He had seen pictures of that card during training, under a slide labeled ownership credentials rarely presented. The crest was exact, the edges were clean, and the name engraved beneath it was one he had whispered to himself during long study nights, hoping to remember every detail, Kamal Rahman. He looked from the card to the man, from the man to the card, as if checking whether reality had matched a photograph. Nadia did not move for a heartbeat. Then her eyes sharpened, and a careful smile rose like a wall. "Sir," she said, voice smooth, "how may we?" Kamal lifted a gentle hand, not to silence, but to set a softer pace. "Good evening," he said, with the same tidy calm he had used all night. "I would like to be checked in. More importantly, I would like you to check in my wife." He turned his head, a simple, respectful gesture, and looked toward the seating area. Aisha stood, not rushing, not hiding, and walked to the desk with the printed confirmation in her hand. There was no gasp from her. There was no grand speech from him. The reveal arrived the way sunrise arrives, quiet and complete. Omar's eyes warmed, his shoulders dropped as if he had been holding his breath without knowing it. The family on the sofa turned their faces, and the little one lifted his head, curious. The man with the rolled poster paused mid-step. Even the pianist's hands hesitated for a small beat before the melody found itself again. Kamal placed the card beside the keyboard. "Bilal," he said softly, "please open the reservation for Aisha Rahman." Bilal's fingers flew, guided by relief. The suite was there. It had been there all along. "Yes, sir," he said, the words steadying themselves. "Your suite is confirmed. I can have the keys ready in 1 minute." Kamal nodded. "Thank you." He turned to Nadia, and there was no edge in his voice, only clarity. "Please call for a 10-minute huddle with the front desk and concierge team. We will meet in the small conference room by the lounge. No one is in trouble. We are going to learn together." The sentence was a rope tossed across a gap, firm, reachable, meant to pull people to safer ground. Nadia opened her mouth, closed it, and then nodded once. "Of course," she said. Her tone was careful. She reached for the phone. Kamal looked back to Bilal. "Before we go," he added, "let's care for our waiting guests." He gestured gently toward the family and the man with the poster. "Please confirm their rooms and arrange a warm welcome amenity, simple things, fruit, water, and a note that says thank you for your patience." Bilal's face lit with the kind of happiness that comes from being allowed to do the right thing. "Right away," he said, and he began to type with speed that finally felt useful. Kamal leaned on the counter, not in ownership, but in attention. "Omar," he called softly. The concierge stepped forward. "Yes, sir." "Thank you for the tea and for caring for our guests while they waited," Kamal said. "Would you help escort the family and our presenter to their rooms when Bilal issues the keys?" Omar's nod carried a quiet pride. "With pleasure," he said. The little one smiled at him as if he had just promised a bedtime story. The man with the rolled poster pressed the tube to his heart like a baton of hope. The lobby's air shifted from tight to breathable. Aisha stood beside Kamal at the counter. She did not look at Nadia with any sting in her eyes. She looked at her the way a teacher looks at a student who can still pass the class with work and time. "Thank you for taking care of our team," Aisha said to Kamal, as much for the room to hear as for him. "Please check me in like any other guest." Kamal inclined his head. "Bilal," he said, "please check in Mrs. Rahman to the presidential suite under my alias, and add a note, no announcements, no fanfare." Bilal's hands moved. 2 new keys slid from the printer with soft clicks. A few bystanders had their phones out, but they lowered them when they caught Kamal's glance. It was not a glare. It was a request for dignity that most people understand when it is asked kindly. "We'll share our own message later," Kamal said to no one and to everyone. "For now, let's take care of people, not headlines." He lifted the metal card from the counter and slipped it into his wallet. Then he turned to Aisha. "Shall we go to the huddle first?" he asked. "Of course," she said. She touched the printed confirmation once, the way a person touches a page in a book they love, and then tucked it away. Before walking to the conference room, Kamal stopped. "One more thing," he said to Bilal, "please post the small sign at the desk. If you have a confirmed reservation and face any issue, ask for a second check. We will help." Bilal nodded, grateful for words that people could hold. Nadia returned from the phone with the briefest report. "Team is gathering," she said. Her voice was thinner than before, like a ribbon pulled tight. Kamal thanked her and gestured toward the glass door of the small room. He did not walk ahead of the team. He walked with them. Inside the meeting room, the air smelled faintly of paper and lemon cleaner. A small screen waited on the wall, unused. Kamal did not connect his laptop. He stood at the head of the table only because someone had to stand somewhere. Aisha took a seat near the side, hands folded, eyes gentle. Bilal and Omar sat, alert and a little nervous. 2 bell staff hovered by the door, curious. Nadia took the chair opposite Kamal, spine straight, Blazer perfect, pen ready as if they were about to do math together. Thank you for taking 10 minutes, Kamal began. We will not talk long. We will talk clear. He paused the way good speakers pause before a single step on a stair. Our brand promise is on the wall, but it only lives if it's in our hands. Tonight, our promise slipped. He did not look at only one person when he said it. He looked at the whole table as if the table itself mattered. Here is what I saw, he continued. Guests with confirmed reservations were told that we were full when we were not. Some guests who looked a certain way were offered upgrades and warm language. Others were not. Nadia's pen did not move. Her jaw set. We had to protect the brand presentation, she said carefully. Peak evenings bring many walk-ins and high-profile guests. We must ensure the right mix. Kamal nodded once, as if acknowledging a sentence in a business report. Presentation matters, he agreed. But the foundation is fairness. A promise without fairness is just a poster. He turned to Bilal. What did you see? He asked, not to trap, but to teach. Bilal swallowed and found courage in Omar's steady presence. I saw confirmed reservations, sir, he said. I also saw Nadia's instruction to hold back certain rooms. I was confused. Thank you, Kamal said, and the words carried weight. He faced Nadia again, not with accusation but with request. Please help me understand the rule you used, he asked. Let us write it on the board so we can examine it. Nadia looked at the whiteboard, then at the table. The rule, she said slowly, is that we must prioritize guests who elevate the brand. Guests who fit. The last word hung like a piece of glass. No one breathed for a moment. Aisha exhaled first and smiled a small human smile that had nothing to do with battle and everything to do with building a better room. Kamal picked up a marker and wrote on the board, prioritize guests who fit. He underlined fit. Then he drew a small box around the word and wrote beside it, what does fit mean? He capped the marker. This is not a trick, he said quietly. If we cannot define a word, we will use it to do harm without meaning to. Tonight, fit began to mean looks expensive. That is not our policy. That is a habit we do not want. He waited, because change does not enter a room fast, it enters on feet, and it needs a clear space. Nadia's posture softened by a single degree. I did not mean harm, she said. The words were simple. I have made my team nervous about saying yes. Kamal nodded. Nervous teams make narrow doors, he said. Let us widen the door the right way. He clicked his phone once and then laid it face down. Here are immediate steps, he continued. First, we will honor all confirmed reservations, always. If the system shows a conflict, we escalate to a second check, no exceptions. Second, we will print and post a clear escalation card at the desk. Third, we will never use appearance as a filter. If anyone feels unsure, you have my permission to pause and ask. He turned to Omar. You practiced care when the room felt tight. Thank you. You will receive a merit note in your file. Omar's ears went a little pink. I was just doing my job, he said. Exactly, Kamal replied. That is why it matters. He faced Bilal. You told the truth under pressure. That is what integrity looks like in real life. Please keep doing that. We will train and support you so you do not have to choose between honesty and approval. Bilal blinked away the wet in his eyes and nodded, a quick double nod that meant he would remember this moment on hard days. Kamal set the marker down. Regarding leadership, he said, turning gently back to Nadia, you will step back for the rest of the shift. HR will begin a fair review in the morning. This is not punishment without listening. This is us keeping the desk clear while we learn. Nadia swallowed and looked at Aisha. Something like remorse moved across her face, brief and real. Ma'am, she said, I am, truly sorry. Aisha met the apology and gave it a place to sit. Thank you, she replied. We can grow from mistakes if we place them on the table and not under it. The huddle ended not with applause, but with chairs pushing back and people standing a little taller. Kamal thanked everyone and opened the door. As they walked out, he stopped by the service corridor and called the lounge manager. Please continue offering soup and bread to any waiting guests, he said. No charge. Quiet service. Just care. He sent a short note to the regional director, huddle complete. Implementing escalation cards tonight. HR to review leadership approach. Outcome to include training for bias awareness and service recovery. He did not write the word scandal. He wrote the word repair. Back at the desk, the new sign sat in a small frame. If you have a confirmed reservation and face any issue, ask for a second check. We will help. The family had already gone up, and a thank you note from the man with the rolled poster lay on the counter, quick and heartfelt, I'll present well tomorrow because you cared tonight. Bilal smiled when he saw it. Omar returned from the elevators and gave Kamal a tiny nod that said, all set. The lobby felt different now. Not louder. Clearer. The pianist, perhaps sensing some new current, shifted to a tune that sounded like open windows. Kamal handed Aisha her keys. Shall we? He asked. In a minute, she said, looking toward Nadia, who stood at the side of the desk, eyes down, hands folded. Aisha walked to her with the same calm she had kept all night. I hope you will stay for the training, she said kindly. You are skilled. Skill plus kindness will make you excellent. Nadia looked up, surprised, and a tear silvered the edge of her lower lashes. She nodded once. Thank you, she whispered. The words were small, but true things often are. Kamal took Aisha's bag. They moved toward the elevators as if it were the most ordinary thing for a husband and wife to do at the end of a long travel day. Guests stepped aside with quiet smiles. A bell staffer pressed the call button and held the door with a gloved hand. As the elevator slid closed, Kamal looked out at the desk one last time and saw Bilal offering water with an easy smile, saw Omar kneeling to speak to a child at eye level, saw Nadia breathing slow, pen poised above a fresh page where new notes would be made. When the doors opened on the suite floor, the hallway smelled faintly of citrus and fresh linen. Aisha walked beside Kamal in easy silence. You handled it well, she said at last. You did, too, he replied. You were the lesson I hoped they would see. Aisha laughed softly. Then let us rest, so we can teach again tomorrow, but with joy. Kamal slid the key into the lock. The light turned green. They stepped inside, not into victory, but into a room prepared for peace. The city lights spread beyond the glass like a quiet sea, and the night, having done its honest work, finally felt gentle. The suite held a soft quiet, the kind that makes even a busy mind breathe a little slower. Aisha set her bag on the stand and walked to the window. The city lights looked like a field of small lamps, steady and calm. On the dining table lay a tray with plain tea, fresh fruit, and two small cards that said welcome without showing any names. She touched the corner of one card with a smile. They followed your note, she said. Kamal loosened his collar and answered with a nod. He was not thinking about fruit or cards. He was thinking about how to turn a sharp moment into a gentle, lasting change. He poured tea for both of them and sat down. We will rest after the next step, he said. This step matters. Aisha took a sip. Do it now while the memory is warm, she agreed. Then the lesson will not feel like a lecture. It will feel like real life. Kamal opened his phone and sent a short message to the security office. Please meet me at the front desk with the reservation logs for 1800 hours to 21:00, he wrote. He asked the duty engineer to print the CCTV stills that showed the desk area from 3 angles. He was careful and clear, no sound, only still images. We will use them to see flow, not to shame people. The replies came back quickly, on my way, understood, 5 minutes. Aisha touched his sleeve. Remember to praise what went right, she said. People need anchors before they can face the waves. Kamal smiled. Yes, he said. Omar's care. Bilal's honesty. The warm milk for the child. The sign at the desk. The small plates for people waiting. He stood and straightened his shirt. Kindness is not decoration, he said. It is the structure. Aisha laughed softly. You and your structures. She walked with him to the door. I like them when they make room for everyone. They stepped into the hallway, and the soft carpet held their steps the way the night held the city. When they reached the lobby again, the air felt lighter. The pianist had shifted to a song that sounded like morning, even though it was still night. Bilal stood taller. Omar had a list in his hand and a pencil behind his ear, ready to note small needs. Nadia waited by the side counter, hands folded, eyes steady, blazer still perfect but spirit quieter. A security officer approached with a sealed folder. The engineer rolled in a small cart with the printed stills in clear sleeves. Kamal thanked them both and moved to the side of the desk where there was enough space to lay things out. He arranged the papers in a simple order, log printouts on the left, still images in the middle, blank notepads on the right. He looked at the team and spoke in a voice that carried without pressing. We will take 10 minutes to look at the evening, he said. No blame words. Only facts and better ways. He turned to Nadia first, because leadership carries both weight and care. Thank you for staying, he said. It is not easy to look closely at a hard hour. She nodded once. I want to learn, she said. The words were plain and brave. Kamal held up the first reservation log. It showed the names of guests, times, and room statuses. He used a simple pen to mark 3 lines. Here is Miss Malik at 19:12, he said. Upgrade to junior suite, completed. He made a small check. Here is Mr. Rasa at 19:28, he continued. Confirmed reservation, told full occupancy, not completed. He drew a small circle. Here is the Khan family at 19:40, he said. Confirmed reservation, told full occupancy, later completed. He put the log down and pointed to a still image that showed the desk at 19:28. Nadia leaned in and studied the picture, herself at the keyboard, Bilal by her side, the father with the sleepy child shifting his weight. Kamal did not ask why did you do this? He asked, what did we feel here? It was a kinder door to walk through. Bilal spoke first. I felt worry, he said. I wanted to do the right thing, but I did not know which right was the right. A tiny smile touched Kamal's mouth at the honest tangle of words. That is a common feeling, he said. It is why we write clear steps. Omar added, I felt the family's tiredness like a weight in my own arms. I wanted to help, but I did not want to break the chain of command. Nadia looked at the paper and then at the still. I felt the pressure to protect inventory during a peak hour, she said quietly. I wanted the lobby to look impressive. Kamal nodded. Thank you, he said. Now we balance feelings with facts. He tapped the occupancy report on his phone. At 19:28, we had 3 rooms clean and ready. At 19:40, 2 more were within 30 minutes of release. Fact, we were not full. Fact, 2 confirmed guests were told we were full. He paused. The pause was not a weapon, it was a space where people could lay down heavy things and pick up better ones. Here is what we will do from tonight, he said, and he wrote 3 short lines on the top sheet of a notepad so everyone could see. 1. Second check rule. If a guest has a confirmed reservation and the system shows any conflict, we must do a second check. Call reservations, refresh the system, or ask the duty manager to review. No exceptions. 2. Dignity first greeting, offer water, a seat, and a clear time estimate when asking any guest to wait longer than 5 minutes. 3. Escalation card, every front desk team member has the right and the words to request review. For guest dignity, I request a second check. He passed the pad to Bilal and Omar to copy. He gave Nadia a fresh card from a small stack. Please read it out loud, he said, still gentle. Nadia took a breath and read, for guest dignity, I request a second check. The sentence hung in the air, simple and strong. That's a good sentence, she said softly. It feels safe. Kamal nodded. Safety helps people choose right, he said. He turned to the engineer. Now, the desk flow, he said. They clipped 3 still images to a small board, one with a long line bending into the lounge, one with a cluster at the counter, and one with the corner where Omar often stood. We will change the rope here, Kamal said, pointing to the place where the line curved. And we will post a new small sign here. He sketched the words on a blank card, please keep your ID and confirmation ready. If you need help, we are here. The engineer took the card to the print room to make a neat version for the frame. Next came accountability, but not as a hammer. As a level. Kamal looked at Nadia. You will step back for the rest of tonight and tomorrow, he said. HR will meet you at 10 o'clock for a fair review. Bring your notes. Bring your reasons. You will be heard. Nadia nodded. The tightness in her shoulders eased, not because the news was easy, but because it was clear. I understand, she said. May I still help the team in the back office? Kamal's face warmed. Yes, he said. Please help with schedule cleanup and email replies. We will assign a mentor to you for the next 4 weeks. He looked at Omar. Would you serve as interim desk lead tonight? He asked. Omar blinked. I will do my best, he said. I will listen to the team and the guests. Kamal signed 2 small letters, one merit note for Omar, one recognition line for Bilal to be added to his file, demonstrated integrity under pressure, asked for clarity, supported care. He gave the notes to the security officer to deliver to HR inboxes. Then he turned back to the lobby and saw the line quite small now, the light on the marble warm as bread, the room breathing in an easy way. He felt the moment when a ship that had been slightly off course turns its wheel and finds the calm lane of water again. Service recovery followed, not flashy, but sincere. Kamal asked the lounge to send a quiet plate of bread and soup to any guest who had been told to wait earlier. He approved a simple letter for the Khan family and the conference guest, we did not serve you as we should have. Thank you for your patience. We have corrected our process. Please accept breakfast on us tomorrow morning. Aisha read the draft and nodded. It is humble and true, she said. No excuses. Good. Then came the conversation that would matter tomorrow, the one about training. Kamal called the training lead on speaker, with the team listening. We will add a 1-hour module this week on bias awareness and service recovery, he said. Real cases, simple tools, practice sentences. The training lead asked for a few examples. Aisha stepped closer to the phone. Her voice was soft, but firm. Show a guest in simple clothes with a confirmed booking, she said. Then show 3 responses, the wrong one, the cold one, and the right one. Let people hear the difference. The training lead wrote quickly. We will record those, she said. We will make them our standard practice clips. Nadia surprised herself by speaking up. Please include a clip about protecting inventory language, she said. When we say that, we forget we are protecting people first. Kamal looked at her and nodded. Thank you, he said. That is exactly the kind of sentence we will change. He added a small line to his notes, Replace protect inventory with care for each reservation. The words seemed to lift a little, like curtains that let fresh air into a room. Around this time, the regional director arrived without fanfare. He stood near the flower display and listened with his hands in his pockets, his eyes soft. When Kamal finished, the director stepped forward. "May I add one thing?" he asked. Kamal inclined his head. "Please." The director faced the team. "In my first hotel job, I judged a guest by his shoes," he said. "They were dusty from travel. I learned that night that dusty shoes sometimes mean a long, honest journey. Since then, I look at faces, not shoes." He smiled a little. "Let's build a place where every journey ends in welcome." The small crowd, staff, and a few guests nearby, let out the breath they had been holding. It felt like sunlight passing through clean glass. Kamal thanked the director and then turned to the desk again. He asked Bilal to walk him through the new flow as if he were a guest arriving with a confirmed reservation and a tired face. Bilal did well. He offered water at the right moment, he spoke the second check sentence with confidence, and he smiled in a way that felt like care, not like training. Omar guided a couple to a seating area with a clear time estimate and returned exactly when he said he would. Even Nadia, from the back office, sent a neat email that matched the new tone. A line formed once more as a shuttle bus arrived. This time, the desk handled it like a team playing the same song. The rope guided the curve. The sign told people what to prepare. The small bowls of mints near the pens had tiny tongs so no one had to reach with tired hands. And in the middle of the marble, Aisha stood for a moment, just watching, not as an owner, not as a secret, but as a person who loves the simple idea that a door can open wider. Kamal glanced at the clock. It was nearly time to let the lobby keep its own rhythm. He gathered the remaining still images and handed them back to security with thanks. He told the engineer the new sign looked good. He checked the staff schedule for the early shift and asked the director to start the day with a 5-minute reminder, every guest, every time. Then he turned to Aisha. "Now we rest," he said. "The work will continue tomorrow, but without the sharp edges." They took the elevator up again. The doors closed with a soft hush. Inside the suite, the city was still there, patient and bright. Aisha placed the printed confirmation in the drawer of the bedside table, not out of need anymore, but as a small symbol. "You held the room," she said. "You held the people," he answered. He poured the last of the tea. "Tomorrow, we add one more promise," he said, half to himself. "Something simple and strong." Aisha tilted her head. "A promise that keeps the door open even when we are not here." He smiled. "Yes," he said. "A promise that turns one good night into many." They sat by the window and ate a few grapes in companionable silence. Down below, the lobby moved on, but a little different now, like a river that had found its true bed. The consequences had not been loud. They had been clear. They had not crushed. They had built. And in that quiet building, the hotel felt more like the place they had once dreamed about at a small kitchen table, when all they had were notes, hope, and the belief that welcome is a craft you practice every day. Morning arrived quietly, with a pale line of gold along the edge of the curtains and the soft hum of the city coming awake. Aisha opened her eyes to the gentle light and the smell of fresh bread that drifted up from the kitchen below. For a moment she simply listened. The night had been long and full, and yet her heart felt light. She rose, wrapped her scarf, and poured water. Kamal stood by the window reading a small list he had written in tidy lines before sleeping. He looked over, smiled, and tapped the paper. "Today we finish the circle," he said. "We keep the door open after the story ends." They went down early, before the lobby grew busy. Housekeeping carts lined the hallway like quiet ships. On one cart, towels were folded into a small swan. Aisha touched the soft edge with a grateful finger and told the attendant it looked lovely. In the lobby, the night staff was changing over to the morning team. The pianist had gone home. In his place, the warm clink of cups came from the cafe. The air smelled of coffee and fresh fruit. Omar arrived in a neat jacket, a little nervous and a little proud. Bilal had a new notepad and a pen that did not shake. Kamal asked the team to gather for 5 minutes near the flower display. No chairs, no slides, just people. The regional director stood with them, hands in pockets, ready to help. Aisha took her place beside Kamal, not in front, not behind, but with him. "Good morning," Kamal said. "Last night we corrected a mistake and cared for our guests. Today we make a promise that keeps us steady when the lobby is busy or quiet." He held up a single page with a short title at the top, written in clean letters that anyone could read from a few feet away. "The Open Door Promise," he read. "If a guest has a confirmed reservation and we fail to check them in for any reason we could have prevented, we will lodge them at an equal or higher hotel at no extra cost, cover their taxi, and add one free night to a local shelter in their name. We will also write them a note that tells the truth." He lowered the page. "Why the shelter?" he asked, looking at the faces around him. "Because welcome grows when it is shared. If we make a mistake, we repair it for the guest and open a door for someone who has none." Omar's eyes brightened. Bilal's hand went up halfway, then all the way. "Sir," he said, "may we have a small card with the promise so we never forget the steps?" Kamal smiled and lifted a small stack. "Already printed," he said. He gave one to each person and asked them to tuck it behind their name tags for the week. "We will say it out loud in the morning and the evening for 7 days," he added. "Not like a spell, but like a reminder." Aisha stepped forward. "And one more thing," she said. "Each month, we will give a respect award. It will not be for grand gestures. It will be for small acts done again and again, offering water without being asked, kneeling to speak to a child at eye level, finding a chair for a tired elder, using the second check sentence when it would be easier not to. Kindness done often becomes the shape of a place." The staff nodded. Some wrote the words "Respect Award" in their notepads, some simply stood a little taller. Kamal turned to the director. "We will put our values where people can see them," he said. The director lifted a small metal frame with a card that read, "Every guest, every time," and placed it on the counter. Another sign went by the rope, "Have your ID and confirmation ready. If anything is unclear, ask for a second check. We are here." The words were simple and friendly. They looked like a hand held out. Soon the breakfast rush began. The first test of the new day came fast. An older couple with road dust on their shoes stepped into the line. The woman carried a plant in a small pot wrapped with newspaper, a gift for someone she loved. Bilal greeted them with a real smile and offered water. He asked for the confirmation and checked the screen. A small conflict code blinked red. He did not panic. He spoke the sentence that had been practiced, "For your dignity, I request a second check." He refreshed the system, called reservations, and the red light turned green. The woman laughed with relief and held up the plant like a tiny flag. "Welcome," Bilal said. The word felt true. A student arrived next, backpack heavy, eyes bright with hope and worry. She had saved for this trip and carried a printed page with careful staples. Omar noticed how she kept touching the paper, as if steadying herself. He guided her to a seat for a moment while Bilal worked. When she stood to check in, they both knew the steps, and the check-in went smooth as a quiet river. The student said she had an interview across town. Omar drew her a small map on a card with landmarks that would not fail, a blue door, a big tree, a bakery that smelled like cinnamon. She tucked the map into her pocket and thanked him 3 times. At 9, HR arrived. Nadia walked into the small office with her notes and a face that was open, not guarded. Aisha joined the meeting as a listener. The review was fair and clear. Nadia explained the pressure she had felt to make the lobby look impressive at all times. She admitted she had used the word fit without defining it and had trained her team to be more afraid of giving away a room than of turning away a person. HR asked questions about process, not feelings, so the conversation could build a new path. Aisha said, "We can be excellent and kind at the same time." Those two words like living together. The outcome was written in simple lines: a 2-week step back from the desk, a mentorship with a senior manager known for warmth, extra training, weekly check-ins, and a clear goal: lead a shift for 1 month with 0 preventable turnaways and 3 documented service recoveries done right. Nadia accepted the plan. Before she left, she asked to speak to the family from last night if they returned to the lobby. She wanted to apologize in person. Aisha nodded. "If they come by before they leave, we will make a quiet space for that," she said. A sincere word often fixes what a long email cannot. In the cafe, Kamal and the director met with the kitchen lead. "We serve comfort, not just food," the kitchen lead said, and promised to keep a small tray ready during peak hours: tea, bread, fruit, so any waiting guest could feel seen. The Bell team agreed to watch for heavy bags and tired shoulders and to bring a chair when a line grew long. Little things, many times. The day began to hum with a tune that felt new and familiar all at once. By late morning, the lobby had a different rhythm. The new frames on the desk caught the light. The escalation cards peeked from behind name tags like quiet shields. A guest in a business suit stood beside a guest in dusty shoes, and both were greeted by name and with water. The student came back from her interview with a smile that reached her eyes. She said the map had helped, she had not been late, she felt brave. Omar cheered softly and showed her where to find the best pastry for the train ride home. Bilal processed a complicated booking with patience he did not know he had yesterday. He looked like someone who had found a straighter road. Around noon, the Khan family from last night walked through the revolving door with their child, who now held a small toy car and a breakfast muffin. Nadia saw them and asked for a moment in a quiet corner. She spoke simply. "I am sorry for last night," she said. "I did not serve you as I should have. I am learning." The father listened and then smiled, not to dismiss the mistake, but to accept the apology. "We all learn," he said. The mother nodded and added, "You have a good team." The little one waved at Omar and asked if the elevator could do the magic again. It did. Laughter rose like light. In the afternoon, Kamal wrote a short message for the hotel's website and for a small board near the elevators. It said, "We believe welcome is a promise. If we ever fall short, tell us. We will make it right." He did not name last night or point to himself. The message was not about him. It was about a door that would stay open even when he and Aisha were not standing in the lobby. He also made a call to a local shelter the hotel had supported quietly for years. "We have a new step in our promise," he said. "When we fix a mistake, we will add a night in your shelter in our guest's name. Can we work out a simple process?" The shelter director sounded surprised and grateful. "Yes," she said. "Simple is good. People need places to rest while they rebuild their lives." Kamal smiled. "We will be simple and steady," he said. Late afternoon brought a soft rain, and the lobby took on that special calm that comes when water sings on the windows and guests slow down. Aisha sat with the housekeeping supervisor and listened to small ideas that sounded like wisdom: place a spare phone charger in each room's nightstand, add a small note in the bathroom that says, "If you forgot something, call us. We will find it." None of these ideas flashed like news, and yet each one made the room kinder. By evening, the day had drawn a neat circle. The director sent a one-page report, the new signs were in place, the cards were printed, the training schedule was set, feedback from guests had already mentioned the water at check-in and the clear timing. No grand praise, just thanks. Those two words, repeated often, built a wall you could lean on. Dinner was quiet in the suite. Aisha and Kamal ate simple soup and shared bread. They did not talk much about the day, they had lived it. When they spoke, it was about the people behind the work: the night engineer who printed stills without gossip, the bell staffer who learned to say, "Let me carry that, please," in a way that allowed pride and relief to stand together, the trainee who looked less afraid at sunset than he had at dawn. Aisha said, "I think our hotel feels more like a home now." Kamal nodded. "Homes have rules," he said, "and they also have grace." Before sleeping, they took a short walk on the rooftop. The rain had stopped, and the city glittered as if the streets had been washed and set to dry. A small group of staff finished their break and waved from a distance. There were no speeches, no cameras, no stage. There was only the clean air after rain and the quiet knowledge that a promise written on paper had entered people's hands. On their last morning, Aisha passed the front desk to thank the team before they left for another city. She saw Bilal check in a guest who spoke softly in a new language. He used simple words and clear hands to bridge the gap. She saw Omar teach a junior concierge how to read faces for needs, not for status. She saw Nadia at the back office window, building a shift schedule that matched strengths to hours like pieces in a careful puzzle. Nadia looked up and met Aisha's eyes. She gave a small, honest smile. It said, "I am trying." Aisha's smile replied, "I see it." Kamal placed one last small box on the counter for the team. Inside was a stack of the new escalation cards, wrapped with a thin ribbon. On the top card he had written, in his neat hand, "You are allowed to choose dignity first." He did not sign it with his name. He did not need to. The room already knew. They left through the same revolving door where the night had started. The doorman wished them a good day, not knowing he was sending off the people who held the keys to the building. Outside, the city smelled like morning and wet stone. A taxi pulled up. Kamal held the door for Aisha. She paused and looked back at the tall glass, the warm lobby, the small frames that caught the light. She was not thinking about ownership. She was thinking about the plant in the newspaper, the student with the map, the child who loved the magic elevator. She was thinking about all the people who would arrive tired and leave lighter. As the car joined the soft traffic, Aisha leaned her head on Kamal's shoulder. "Power that does not humiliate is the only kind worth having," she said. Kamal breathed out slowly, as if setting a stone in a steady wall. "Then let us keep building that kind," he said. The taxi turned at the corner. The hotel stood steady behind them, doors open, values not just on a wall but moving through hands and voices. And in that simple truth lay the heart of the story: welcome is not a poster, it is a choice, made again and again, until it becomes who you are.